Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, it's Vandy. Back with another Card Fate Vanguard deck provides. If you guys enjoyed, to like, comment, subscribe, and let's start, shall we? This time we are covering one of my favorite decks from V, 7 Seas. I mean, we all know 7 Seas didn't come, but came long before V. But I enjoyed them during V, especially because one of my main things that I really like about Vanguard is before, when I used to build a lot of budget decks, and I still do, I think I do build still budget decks now, or at least the ones I can build, but whenever my budget decks get supported, I feel like I've been rewarded for not always picking the more expensive option and playing the game. Once more, not saying the more expensive options are the worst option, I'm just saying resorting to the budget, you're still getting some support, because we just got some good 7C support, and I fucking love it, and I kind of now resent the King Serpent, the thing that when you call from drop, you soul charge 1 if I remember correctly. God, I hate that card now, solely because I wish it was the grade 1 7Cs card. But whatever, let's go ahead and get this started, shall we? First up, we have Captain Knight Kid as our starter. Grade 0 boost, 10k shield, 6k base. Auto when he's wrote upon draw card, every opponent's Vanguard to go to a quick show ticket to your hand. All around, he's an amazing starter. He just has the same starter skill as everyone else does. But you know what makes him better than every other starter? He's Captain Knight Kid. I mean, Granblue is a deck full of zombies and pirates and it's just all of that stuff, and Captain Knight Kid, he's the most remarkable one here, and definitely not because I have a bias towards pirates and or swordsmen in any way, shape, or form. What the fuck are you talking about? Anyways, Captain Knight Kid is an amazing starter. I honestly like him. He's my favorite Granblue starter of all time, if that point wasn't made clear. So Captain Knight Kid's our starter. You can run any starter you really want that has the draw and quick short skill, but Captain Knight Kid's the preferred one for me. Then we move on to our trigger lineup. We run 4 draw PGs and Gust Jin, grade 0, boost, 0, shield, 5k base, draw, trigger, continue 7 with 4 signals to the deck, and auto guard when plays, discard 1, and one of your units cannot be hit on the battle. Standard PG, nothing special about it. You kind of just use it to defend yourself. You can pick an extra crit in this deck because we do run 8 more crits in Mortal Mimic and Night Spirit, so you could run 12 crit. You very much could, and when you get a board restand with a 12 crit, that's pretty dangerous. But I prefer the draw PG because you still need hand cards to defend yourself, and this is the Granblue deck that doesn't mill itself out extremely crazy, so Gust Jin is really helpful. You can actually afford to run draws. You won't deck yourself out unless your opponent is actively trying to deck you out themselves. So yeah, just Gust Jin's a nice card to have for that PG purposes, because PG does a lot more than 30k now that I've noticed, or at least with our newer reveals. 30k doesn't really do much. It does okay, but it doesn't do a lot. Then we have Night Spirit, and then we have our Mortal Mimic. Like I said earlier, we run 8 crits for draw PG. Again, you can make it 12 crit, or you can do 6-6, but I prefer this line just because I want the crits to be more aggressive, but the draws are still there for help. And then we have Rick the Ghosty, a heal trigger, grade 0 boost, 20k shield, 5k base. Run any heal you want, really. You can run a heal garden. We all know why I'm not running heal gardens at this point. If you don't know, go watch the Locks video from a few months ago and you'll get the best understanding, but the main point is they're detrimental to my playstyle, so I'm not going to run heal gardens. If you want to run them, go ahead, feel free, but also, even if it wasn't for that, I would not betray Rick the Ghosty. Something I've learned from playing Vanguard over the years is that there are cards that you will get so lucky with compared to others. Even if the other one is better, don't run it, because there's a chance you might not see it as often as you see the other card. When I built the new Ezel deck with Grand Ezel Scissors, I don't know what happened, but putting Grand Ezel Scissors in cursed my deck. And the second I took it back out, the deck worked fine again. I don't know what happened. I just know Grand Ezel Scissors was a curse, so I just stopped running it in general. So I know for sure not to cut Rick the Ghosty because I sack him so much when I need to. So Rick the Ghosty, you're staying, 4 of. Then we move on to our, we're not on grade 1s yet, but we move on to our norm units. 3 copies of 7 Seas Apprentice Night Runner, grade 0 boost, 10k shield, 5k base, auto Vanguard rear. When its attack hits, choose one of your Vanguard rear guards without a treasure marker and put a treasure marker on it. And that's the last time I'm ever going to say it. Every card in this deck that's a 7 Seas has that skill. It's an instant on hit, you get a treasure marker. So let me go ahead and say now, it puts pressure on the opponent. It makes it very much more difficult for them to survive because they have to constantly guard attacks, or they have to strategically manage it because they very much should know what Night Mist does and how dangerous he can be. My friend knows how dangerous Night Mist is. The first time I played 7 Seas against him, he didn't know what they did. The second I got to 6, he immediately surrendered because he knew what was about to happen because he finally read Night Mist skill. But nowadays, every time I play 7Cs after that game, he fucking cock blocks everything. Like, every attack. Even if he needs a counterblast, he will PG a fucking grade 1 attack. He has done it before, where he had no guards outside of that PG. He dropped that PG just to give me a fuck you. I'm not even joking with you. He will testify for that statement. So, yeah, you know, if you ever play 7Cs as annoying as I do, just make sure your opponent always cockblocks you. But at the same time, that's the downside because your skills won't go off of treasure markers. Anyways, act rearguard, bind this unit, and mill 2 cards. Reveal turn up to 1/17 from your drop zone to that's not him to your hand. So that's pretty good. Yes, well, it does get rid of him, so you can't keep looping it. The good news is that he gets you 2 7Cs in drop, and he can possibly get you Night Mist. I don't know why, but I've been having trouble drawing Night Mist into my hand lately, so Night Runner is always my alternative way to get him into my hand. Yes, because for some reason I can't draw him normally, but I can mill him out and then just fetch him with Night Runner. So all around that's pretty good. While this deck doesn't do milling, it's a way to grade lock yourself and get your ideal 7Cs, or if you're already on Night Mist, you know, maybe get a grade 2 like Night Spell. Like, Night Spell is always the second best option. Like, if you got a Night Spell and anything else, pick the Night Spell because the Night Spell can get the other card, so effectively getting 2 for 1. So Night Runner is really good. He can get you mills, he can get you literally any 7Cs card, and he has the standard ability that all of them have, so 3 of. Because, you know, he's a 5k, and he has to be the one to hit, not boost. Then we move on to our only main normal unit in this deck that isn't the starter, that isn't a 7Cs. 2 copies of Witch Doctor of Powdered Bone, Negro Bone. Grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base, act drop zone, discard card from your hand, put this to bottom, call grade 1 from your drop zone to rear. If your drop zone has 10 or more cards, you may call any grade instead. Okay, I know I said earlier that, like, you know, you're not gonna mill a lot, but at the same time, you get drop zone cards fast in this deck. Like, if you play it like I do, you can go from 0 to like 13 in 5 seconds if your opponent rushed you enough, to the point where Negrobone would be pretty useful, because there are occasions where you might not have a board and Negrobone might save you. Drop them, send someone to drop a card, send this guy to bottom, get that Night Spinel in your drop, use that Night Spinel, counterblast 1, call Night Haze, King Haze, whatever it's called, and use his skill, mill top, look at top 5, oh, get a Night Runner, call that Night Runner, use its skill, use this skill, get something from drop, and then call it, and then call another rearguard, use Night Crow in your drop, Soul Boss 1, all these stupid loops. But point is, Negrobone's really good. He can definitely get board set up, but at the same time, he's not 7Cs, and you want to get that maximum amount of possibility of hitting a treasure card as much as physically possible. So 2 of Necrobone, because while he can bring you back from a comeback situation, he is not the thing you want to constantly have to rely on, so 2 of. Then we have 4 copies of 7C's Hellsman Nightcrow. You can just call this and then nuke it with Nightcrow and then proceed to just do the stupid loop I just said. So grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base, standard on hit ability, and then act drop zone. If your Vanguard has 7C's in its card name, Soul Blast 1, retire another rearguard that isn't Nightcrow. Again, him, call Nightcrow. So it's pretty nice. He can get himself back from board. I know I use that ability a lot. Like, this for a long time was my ideal ride target, and it still is. Because while, yes, none of them have Vanguard abilities outside of the on-hit, what you can do is you can ride him, get a copy of him drop for later, and then what you do is when you get to grade 3, you Soul Blast out the copy you rode for the one in your drop zone, you kill something, you call something else to kill, and then you do the same thing again. So, because not name once per turn, so you can get 2 of them, and all it does is one setup. Like, this is hands down the grade 1 you want to ride. You don't want to ride this unless you really have no other options. You definitely don't want to ride this, again, unless you have no other options. This is the best one, because while yes, it doesn't have any special Vanguard skill outside of that on hit, he can act for setup. So all around, he's a nice grade 1 to have. While yes, he is the most useless one on rear, he is still something to have because you have board advantage for literally the easiest cost in the world. So 4 of. Then we have 4 copies of Witch Doctor of 7C's Razuter. Grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base. I call this one the one my friend targets that isn't Slash Shade. I say this because whenever Slash Shade's on my board, he will target it like hell, but then when Slash Shade finally goes down, he will target Razuter like hell. So, standard on hit ability, and then continuous rear. If there's a marker on his circle, he gets intercept. So, the thing about Night Mist is that he can allow 7C cards to intercept from back row. So having a 10k intercept is amazing, except it just says marker. It doesn't matter what marker it is. It can be a protect marker. Fuck it. If you somehow made it in Granblue, you can make it a force marker. Same with Excel markers. Somehow again. But the main thing is treasure markers, because treasures are considered markers. So whatever the classified gender it is, it can get intercept. So you have the 10k interceptor from back row. And if you combine with a protect marker, this is a 20k interceptor with a 13k swing. I say swing, and I'll get to that when we get to Night Mist. But yeah, Riser is pretty nice. It is definitely my most defensive card. It has saved me from so many binds having that extra, like, 20k shield so I don't have to drop a Work the Ghosty immediately. Especially so I don't have to reveal how many heals I actually lost, because I swear I will lose 3 of my Work the Ghosties within 5 seconds of playing Granblue. Not even joking with you. By first grade 3 turn, if I play any Granblue deck that isn't 7Cs, I will lose 3 of my 4 Work the Ghosties within my first 2 turns. That's not even me fucking around. That's just me being serious. So 4 for Suitor, it always helps with defensives. It is not the one you want to ride, obviously, but it's still a good card nonetheless, so 4 of. Then we have 4 copies of 7C's Pillager Night Spinel, the one that saves my ass on so many occasions. Grade 2 intercept, 5k shield, 9k base, auto van or rear, when his attack hits, choose a vanguard or rear guard. Why did I read that? I knew the skill, and I read it anyways. I was literally saying in my head, I'm going to end up reading the skill on accident, aren't I? And I did it anyways. Standard on hit ability, like I said earlier. And then Auto Van Rear, the ability that saves my ass, when placed from anywhere. Drop, hand, fucking deck somehow, damage zone if you're playing Angel Feathers, soul. I would love to see Bushy do that, but whatever. Placed by any means, from anywhere. Counterblast 1, mill top 2, call to 1/7C's card that's not named Night Spinel from your drop zone to rear. Now, keywords being from your drop zone, not from the among cards. Meaning, even if the top 2 aren't 7Cs, as long as you have a 7Cs in drop, you can call it. And this is why whenever I play against someone and they call they call an extra rear guard and I'm going first and they call an extra rear guard to attack me with, typically what I'll do is I will guard the first attack, and I have this in hand because I will guard the first attack. So I will get a 7 season drop, and then they attack me again, and I take it. The reason I do this is because if I take the damage first, there's a chance I might hit a trigger, and the other attack might get shut down, and I might not get a 7 season drop from Night Spinel. So granted, I could get lucky, but sometimes my luck isn't that good. So instead, I take less damage, guaranteed, but I can still guarantee a rear guard to board. And it's still a good card. And if I see a better card for my mill, then I'll pick the better card. Like, there are occasions where I've just seen Slash Sage off the top 2, and that's like the ideal situation. But whatever, Night Spinel's all around really good. Works on ban, works on rear, literally gets me a board, has saved my ass multiple times whenever I've needed a board to get. Like, I remember I had 0 rear guards, I called a Night Spinel, Counterblast 1, got a Night Runner, because I milled a Night Spinel, bound the Night Runner, got that Night Spinel out from drop, called that Night Spinel again, counterblasted 1, mill top 2, oh look at that, another Night Runner, call the Night Runner, bind it, mill top 2, get another Night Spinel, use his skill to, her skill, to call Slash Sage from my drop zone, and I got a board from like the stupidest bullshit ever. So a 4 of Night Spinel, because this in combination with this have saved my ass on so many occasions, and it gets you a board so quickly. So 4 of. And it's also, guess what? The only 2, up until recently, up until we got that new card, it was the only card in this deck that ever used Counterblast. Now we have another card that uses Counterblast, but once more, for a long time, it was the only card in this deck that only used Counterblast. Just saying, so 4 of. Then we have 4 copies of, like, Best Grade 2. Get this thing on board as fast as possible and make sure it stays there. 7C's Master Swordsman Slash Shade. Grade 2 intercept, 5k shield, 9k base, standard on hit abilities as everyone else. But the reason why I like this one the most, continues rear during your turn. If there's a marker on this unit circle, same as this one. It can be a treasure marker, it can be a gift marker, it doesn't matter. It gets plus 15k. Okay, 15k doesn't sound like a lot, right? No, it is. It is. 7C's is a deck that can multi-attack. We can get like 6 attacks in a turn if we really, without try-harding, we can get 6 attacks in a turn. You let 1 attack hit at any point in the game, we can get 6 attacks a turn. That's not even me fucking around, we can. So getting an ability that allows us to get plus 15 is good. Because that means on a marker, let's say it's on a protect marker, this is a 29k swing to anything. That's a 20k drop and they're at grade 2. If you get it on hit before you ride to Night Mist, you're already in a plus situation. Because that means you can swing 6 times and most likely the Slash Shade's going through because they're not going to bother guarding it because that's a 20k drop. No, it's not. It's a 25k drop if they're on a grade 2, unless they're on a Force Gift. So Slash Sage all around is amazing. It is genuinely my #1 hitter. It is the thing that has won me games because it can hit the strongest, and I can swing into rear guards with it when I know I can't kill my opponent or when I know they're gonna block, and I can just swing into their important rear guards. They can't fucking defend their rear guards because their rear guards are like fucking 3k less than their vanguard, and they can't block it without dropping a PG, and they don't want to drop a PG for it, so they just take it, and then I get a free treasure marker. All around, Slash Shade is an amazing card. I use it for like pinning people down and forcing them to let me get a marker unless they just really want to drop a PG. and it's amazing in an early game rush. I said no because I literally won on a first grade 3 turn because I had 3 slash rages in my back row, and all of them, and I had them consecutively hit one after the other, and all of them got plus 15. So 4 of slash rage. It's an amazing grade 2, and there's no reason not to run it at 4. Then we have 4 copies of our last grade 2, and the only other card in this deck that isn't Night Spinel that costs Counterblast, 7C Sword King Night Haze. Grade 2, intercept 5k shield, 9k base, auto Vanner rear when placed by any means, so you can call it from Night Spinel skill, and it would still get the effect off. Counterblast 1, look at top 5, choose the 1 7C's card from among them, add it to hand, and discard the remaining. So you get a mill. This is the most mill heavy card in this deck. That's the downside, you're milling 4. But you can get a 7Cs from one of them. Unfortunately, if you don't get a 7Cs, you're just straight up milling 5. But that's a way to get cards in drop, especially if you see multiple, because that means you get targets for Night Spinel, especially if Night Spinel is the card you add to hand from it. It can fix you being grade locked, because like I said, Night Runner, while it has saved me from being grade locked before, only top 2, that's a very slim chance of seeing it. Top 5, still not as much, but it does get you more options, especially if you see a Night Runner in there, and you just want to add the Night Runner to get more options later for stuff like Night Spinel. And not to mention, he's not a once per turn, so all around he's a good card, and then he has the standard on hit ability from Vanner Rear. So all around, pretty good. His ability works on Vanner Rear. He can get you a good search. It's not a mandatory, thankfully. If they worded it in the way where you do the top 5 and then you counterblast 1 to add 1, and then you mill if you don't, then that would be a dick move, and then it would be a mandatory, and that would fucking suck. But otherwise, it's not, thankfully. So this card's amazing. I like his art. I like his dual swords, especially this one that glitters beautifully. And I also just like this one because it represents darkness and light over there. All around good card, and probably going to save me from Jesus-ing a lot because Night Mist for some reason hates me now. So 4 of Night Haze, just because it's a good grade 2. Then we move on to our grade 3s. 4 copies of 7C's Aspiration Oguchi Voyage. Grade 3 Twin Jet Protective, 12k base. I want to say I like this card. I don't know why. When I first saw it, I just thought it was like weird misshaped thing. I literally couldn't figure out what the fuck it was. And then when I woke up this morning, I was like, you know, it kind of looks like a Chinese dragon. And it does look like a Chinese dragon. And the reason I say Chinese specifically is, I don't know, like these little things on its, they're not lanterns, but like I know what this is because I've seen it on Chinese dragons in animations. But like point is, like in animations that I see, whenever I see a Chinese dragon, they typically have these little loopty things on it. So I'm just assuming it's a Chinese dragon. It might be a Japanese dragon, but so be it. But like, point is, it's some spiritual dragon. And we all know I'm biased towards it because we see the moon. We see the moon. It's fucking beautiful. This is one of the beautiful moons. It has nice cosmic background. Oh, I love this card, but I'm gonna fan art about it later. Anyways, grade 3. Twin Drive Protective 12k base. Get use Vanguard or Rear Guard during your turn for each card in your drop zone or bind zone with 7 seasons. Card name gets +3. So Night Runner. I forgot to mention that in my Ezra and the Vandy video that Night Runner was a card that can bind itself, but I highly doubt it they made it just for Night Runner, but whatever. Really nice that it can power up from just stuff in bind zone too, so if you wanted to make a weird Necrobolt this thing build, you can. But the point is, gets numbers very quickly from just drop piling up, and that's why discarding 5 is good. Not saying you want to do it, but it's okay. And not to mention, he still gets that +3 per. And then act Vanguard or Rear Guard once per turn. Remove a treasure marker. I don't like removing treasure markers, but at the same time, this is because my friend cock blocks me, so I'm not really sure how that applies to other people. If you're playing against people that don't cock block every attack you do, again, he will literally guard every attack I throw at him. It does not matter if he needs counterblast. Whatever. Choose the 2 grade 2 or less cards from your drop zone with 7 C's in their card names, call in the rear. You could just call Night Haze and Night Spinel. Night Haze, mill top 5 and get a card. Night Spinel, call 2. Call 1. Call Night Runner. Use his skill. Get a Night Spinel. Call Night Spinel. Use his skill. Her skill. Get a fucking grade. Get this in a drop and then call Night Resuder. Call literally any rear guard. Sack it for Night Crow. Board instantly in like the stupidest combo ever. Anyways, all around it's really good. It only costs a treasure marker, no counterblast, no soul blast. This is like one of the freest decks I've ever bet. Why do they make the budget deck so easy to build? They make them have no cost whatsoever. And then the standard on-hit ability. So I like this thing. It's actually, in fact, one of my favorite main grade, or like backup grade 3s. And the reason why I say backup is my ideal search when I'm building a deck is I always want to have a main grade 3, obviously. But then I always want to have a backup grade 3 that I can use on Van, but I can also use on Rear. And preferably it has like all of its good skills on both. This is one of those cards. all of its skills are Vanguard and Rearguard. So if you have to ride it, it's not the end of the world. Yes, you're not getting on Night Mist, which is preferred, but at least you have a Vanguard you can use the abilities of, and if it's on Rear, because Night Mist is the better one, you can still use his good ability. Like, if they locked this skill behind Vanguard, I could see it. I could see them locking the second skill behind Van, but they didn't. They locked it to both, and that's amazing. That means I can use it from anywhere, and the deck is so much more versatile from that. I love it when Bushy does this, and this is one of my favorite cards, because you can also use it with Night Mist. All around amazing grade 3, best support grade 3 I've seen this year, 4 of. And then 4 of Lord of the Seven Seas, Night Mist. Okay, again, we all know I'm like fanboy of swords, and I love this thing. Like, I was literally practicing sword fighting the other day. Literally, last night I was practicing like imaginary sword fighting, so we all know I'm a sword boy. Anyways, grade 3, 200 protect gift, 12k base, standard on hit ability. Now, here's where Night Mist comes in. This continuous Vanguard ability is very important. This is where your entire game plan comes in and why all these on hits are important. So, continuous fan, if you get all the following effects below according to the number of treasure markers you have. If you just hit once, because remember, they're all mandatory get to an open circle with, not open circle, but unit without treasure markers on them. If you hit once, at all, at any point in the game, if you hit something once, and you have a treasure marker on your board, one or more treasure markers, all your rearguard substitutes or card name can attack and intercept from back row. What I like to do, I put it in back center, and I call Slash Shade immediately to that back center. That's a 24k swing out of nowhere. And that means the second you hit once, you can hit 6 attacks in a turn. You can hit 6 attacks in a turn. It's that easy. It's so terrifying. Like, okay, sure, trigger shut it down. Guess what? Unless you hit a front trigger, I'm swinging at your rears. And your rear is going to die, and I'm going to get 2 more treasure markers. And then that gives us to number 3 of treasure markers. If you have 3 or more, during your turn, all your units with 7 Cs in their card and get plus 5k. That's amazing. Because that means it's harder to guard them, and they're getting numbers from it. All around, it's just a good card. So just simply adding 5k to attack is really good. You know, it allows for all your grade 1s to be very aggressive in the back row, while yes, they're still shut down by triggers. It allows your, your 6 attacks just to be still good. And then if you have 6 or more, if your opponent was like dumb enough to let you hit 6 times, I'm not saying they're dumb, but like there's a choice where they could have let you hit 6 times without knowing it, or there's a choice that they could have just been dumb enough not to know what happened. So you get a board restand. It's just a board restand. And that's amazing. Well, okay, not a board restand, but that's just amazing that he can restand your rear guards, because guess what? That's 11 attacks. If they are at 5 damage, they are losing this turn. If they didn't see a single trigger. If they're at 5 damage at the start of the turn, they're losing. Like, I remember, in my entire time of playing 7 Cs, I pulled this off twice. And I can barely remember the second one. I remember the first one perfectly, because it was my friend not knowing what 7 Cs do. But literally, it's just a restand of the rear guards. If they're at 5 damage, it's checkmate. It's checkmate. They can't do shit. No matter what deck they're doing. Because I remember the deck my friend was playing. He was playing Tsukuyomi. He had so many hand cards. All of them went down in that single turn. And he still couldn't survive. Night Mist is powerful. Night Mist is amazing. It's good. It's like the most budget card ever, and it's, well, not the most budget card ever, but it's one of the best budget cards ever. You get a board restand. You have this Knight supporter coming in all around. Night Mist is a 4 in this deck. It's your main grade 3. Then we have our treasure markers, there's 6 of them. They do nothing special, they're just markers you put on rears, and the special thing about them is just what they give to your Slash Shades and your Razuders, which is really weird that they're the only 2 that actually get benefits out of it, but whatever. Then we have our Protect gifts. We have Protect 1 and Protect 2, both at 4, because I don't think the game's ever going to get to the point where you ride more than 4 times, because I'd be damned, because you want to kill your opponent as quick as possible. So Protect 1 is, when Acquire goes to your hand, you can only place it on Guard, Circle, Sentinel, and Auto Guard when plays. Discard card from your hand whenever you cannot be turned to battle. Never pick this. Never pick it. Gustion's enough for you. Like, well, yeah, there are games where you're really going to need those PGs. This whole deck focuses on marker spamming. Your ace cards are straight up Slash Shade and Ryzuter because they're the best ones that can get abilities off rear. Like, this is just a vanilla, let's be fair. Out of all of these, once we get rid of their on-hit abilities, how many of them are useful on rear? Voyage, Ryzuter, and Slash Shade. Those are the only ones once you get rid of their key abilities. Those are the only ones. So this important part is to make sure that at every moment you're getting a marker on those circles, which is where Protect 2 comes in. When acquired, you put on a marker, gets plus 5k power and 10k shield and intercepts. Like, for example, if you got to get rid of 1 treasure marker for this thing's skill, since it has to be a treasure marker, just keep the Protect gift on the circle that you're going to get rid of that treasure marker from, and it's going to have to be that. Sometimes you got to sack a treasure marker, but the Protect 2 will make up for it. So Protect 2 is the way to go. I question you if you do Protect 1, but whatever. 4 of. Then we have our quick shield, which is one of yours attack. It gets plus 5k for the battle. It's just a standard 5k shield. There's nothing in this deck outside of Gustion that really discards. So feel free to use that as a 5k shield, or just keep it in your hand for PG fodder for later. All around, it's a decent card to have. And then that's the end of the deck. So I hope you guys enjoyed. All around, I really like playing 7 Seas, even though I am just not drawing Night Mist anymore, and that kind of just hurts because I feel like Night Mist has betrayed me, even though I'm a loyal sword boy and I will always follow the Knights to the end. But it's just good. Like, it's so fun just being really aggressive to the opponent and having to watch them guard every single attack if they know what's coming. And if they don't know what's coming, then surprise, surprise, when you get to the point where there's like one treasure marker missing and they finally realize that, oh shit, yeah, no, there's gonna be a point where you gotta let something hit, and when it does, I get board restand, you can't stop me, and you can always swing with the rear guards first. Fuck them. I mean, yeah, they're not going to get triggers, but, like, fuck them. That you just get benefits out of it. And then you just have a Maj here who just, like, can make board, and honestly is one of the better, like, the best support gradies I've ever seen. So I'm ending it here. I hope you guys enjoyed. All around 7 Seas is super fun. I suggest picking it up because, like, I'm going to enjoy picking up these 2 new cards. So I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord, follow Twitch, and don't forget to stand up your vanguards.